Welcome everyone back to my channel. Today I'm going to discuss a topic that affects a lot of people in this world, and it's really true to my heart. So stay tuned. I'll be discussing the 5 top triggers amongst teenagers for depression. I want to start this out by saying that if you've got small children in the room, or you've got teenagers in the room with you that might be affected by some of these triggers that I'm going to be talking about, please watch this at another time or ask them to leave the room, because I do not intend for my video to trigger no one with their depression. Depression amongst teenagers is something that's very serious. I myself struggled as a teenager all through my teen years, and still today struggle with depression. So here is my top five triggers for depression amongst teenagers. Number 1 is their hormonal change. As teenagers hit their teen years, their bodies start to make changes. And a lot of times their hormones get out of balance, and they do not understand what's going on with their body and what's going on around their life. With these hormone changes, the girls' bodies start developing, the boys' bodies start to change, and a lot of time it can be a very depressing state because they're not sure as to what exactly is going on. Also, this is another time in school when a girl might start to mature a little faster than the other girls, and then the kids would make fun of her, or she might be a late bloomer and not be as developed as some of the other kids, and then therefore she's subject to bullying. And we know that this is not acceptable, but this is something that happens in real life. So during this time of a teenager's life, it's really important for the parents to watch for this. As they go through their changes, watch for this depression. Number 4 is love. As a person starts to enter their teenage years, they start maturing and they start finding that special someone in their life. And we know we've all had loved ones that didn't work out. This is a very tough time for teens, because a lot of time it's their first love, the first time they've actually had their heart broken, and therefore it's extra hard on them. So this is another reason that sets people off with depression, is because of this love. They're not experienced to the loss of a loved one, the breakups, the get back together, the breakups of teen couples. So as parents, once again, we need to look out for this. If we see a child that's going through a breakup, then we need to especially be careful and watch that child and watch what we say with that child. Number 3 is family expectations. What I mean by family expectations is sometimes the family puts a lot of expectations on a teenager, especially as they start to get up into the later teenagers, 16, 17, 18. The kids start their first job. The parents expect the child to be more mature and to start acting more of an adult, and it puts a lot of strain on a young teenager. A lot of times we have family members, whether it be a mother, father, a grandfather, or even an older brother and sister, that can make comments towards that teenager that affects them. It might not affect an adult, but to a teenager that's going through all these changes in the body and stuff, it makes a big difference with what we say. So we need to be careful what we say during this time and be realistic with our expectations of a teenager. Number 2, money. At this time, as I said, most teenagers around 15, 16-year-old, they start getting their own job, and the parents start to expect more from that child, and they expect that child to kind of start supporting themselves. Well, sometimes the expectations for that child gets too out of hand, and the child don't make the money that the parents think that they should be making, or they don't spend their money the way the parents think they should be. These teenagers are young and they do not know how to manage money properly, so therefore they're usually short on money, and money can make a big difference. Also, during this time, the lack of money, whether you be in a family that doesn't have the money to supply the kids with the name brand clothes, the name brand cars, the other kids will start to harass them and make fun of them because they don't have these things. So the lack of money can put a major depression trigger on a person. The lack of money, the not having the things that the other kids have, this is a real hard time in a child's life, is when they start experiencing these money problems. The last one, and I think is probably one of the number one, it is my number one, but it's probably one of the number one triggers for depression amongst anyone of any age, and that is family tension. A lot of times when a kid gets into their teenage years, that's when the parents start to have problems. That's when they start noticing that mom and daddy don't love each other like they did. Mom and daddy fight. Mom and daddy, one or the other, might not be around. It's at this age when the kids really start to notice that mom or dad's not around. And they miss that person in their life. They need that person in their life. That's why it's important for us as adults to stay together with the parent for these children. A lot of times they start to lose grandma or grandpa around their teenage age. They start to pass away. That's another thing that puts a lot of stress on a teenager, is they start to lose parents. They start to lose grandparents. It just adds up to a lot of stuff. And these family tensions can cause a lot of problems. Also, a child gets up by 18, they start thinking about what they're going to do with their life. The parents might expect them to go off to college, to go be what they want them to be. But the child don't always follow in the parent's footsteps. The child might have other thoughts. And this puts a lot of strain on that relationship between the parent and the child. So that is one of the times when we need to really be on notice and watch that we watch that child, because it's in these ages that we start to have problems with that child. As that child starts to become depressed, start having these other mental health issues, a lot of times they turn to alcohol and drugs. Alcohol and drugs are the number one killer of teenagers. This last year, we lost around 6,500 teenagers to suicide. I hope I don't get kicked off of YouTube for saying that S word, but it takes a lot of teens' deaths, or a lot of teens' lives. So that's something that we always have to look out for. Watch for signs of it. And if you have a child that you think might be having these problems, please get help. Call a counselor. Get them help. If they got a problem with drugs, alcohol, seek counseling for them. Get them help. Because that child is struggling. They don't know how to handle these problems. They don't know how to handle depression. They're young. They've never experienced it before, and they don't have the knowledge as to how to handle these situations. And therefore, they turn to alcohol, drugs. And then when that don't work, then they take the next step with that S word. And we lose way too many kids each year too early because of drugs, alcohol, and the S word. So if you've got a child, look at these signs. Look at these cues. Examine your child good to make sure that they're not having these signs. If they do, seek help, please. If you need to call me, my phone is always on. My email's in the bottom. If I can be of any help, contact me. My door's open anytime. If you like this video, please hit that subscribe button. Turn that notification on so that you'll get a notice the next time I post a video. And hit that like button. Feel free to comment. Thank you.